All right, good afternoon. I'm Kobe Kushner. I'm part of the research team here at Red Cloud. I am pleased to sit down with Baselode Energy. This is a uranium explorer who has been very active in the news lately due to their recent discovery in the Athabasca. I'll note that this is one of our top picks in the uranium space, as described in our thematic piece that we put out a week ago. I think the story speaks for itself, but who better to discuss it than the CEO himself? So joining with us today is James Sykes. You've got 10 to 12 minutes, which will follow up with the Q&A session. Attendees, please feel free to submit your questions at any point and take it away, Jamie.
Awesome. Many thanks, Kobe and Red Cloud, for putting on this amazing presentation and this venue. It's very, very exciting for sure. I'm going to give an abridged presentation to Baselode and ACKIO success that we've recently had. This presentation is available on our website. So ACKIO, what is it? It's a new near surface uranium discovery that was made in the Athabasca Basin area. This does follow up on our Athabasca 2.0 strategy in that we are looking for these near surface high grade uranium deposits outside of the traditional Athabasca Basin. And I think we're doing a good job of delivering on that thesis. Myself, I've been involved in a number of discoveries throughout the last 15 years, both directly and indirectly responsible for over 550 million pounds of discovery. We recently closed a $7.6 million financing, which now provides us with fully funded $11 million in the treasury and a very tight capital structure with about 30% controlled by insiders. We've got amazing projects to hit the uranium market as it is now, and our Hook project with the ACKIO discovery really speaks to those projects as well. So ACKIO is in the middle here, geophysics in the background. The hot pink colors is basically where we want to explore. It's a 1,500 meter anomaly, a long strike, and then 550 meters across strike. Discovery hole within the anomaly itself was from the neighboring company to the north, 92 Energy, who drilled their hole, GEM-04, and released the results in September, radioactivity results in September, and then the U308 results around mid-September. So to put things into context, we do not have assay results yet. We're hoping to receive those within the next 2 weeks. We will put out a news release when we do get those results and go through them. However, in the meantime, we do have radioactivity results expressed as CPS, which is counts per second as measured with a handheld scintillometer. What I've done on the right-hand side is shown some of our better intersections, and with the green arrows pointing to them is what I would consider to be intersections that are equivalent to, if not better than, what was seen in the GEM-04 intersection. So hopefully it builds on or provides you with some sort of insight as to what we could expect with U308 results. On the bottom right-hand, or the bottom left-hand side, I also make mention of Denison Mines Gryphon deposit. And the reason why I do that is because of a specific drill hole, which was ZK-06, drilled in 1980. Now, if you see the two texts in red on the left-hand side, they both have basically equivalent drill hole intersection depths, or drill hole intersections, and pretty equivalent weight percentage U308. So this does kind of build on the story that where you see ZK-06, which is highlighted here on the right-hand side in the Gryphon cross-section, the discovery Gryphon cross-section with the red arrow, that is ZK-06, and there's another hole, ZK-04. I have actually seen that core. I relogged that hole back in 2007 when I was with Denison Mines, and I love the clay alteration there. And it speaks very highly to what we are seeing at ACKIO. So if we can assume that given all the same radioactivity results, and we could be equivalent to, if not better than, GEM-04, which is equivalent to ZK-06, then we could have very similar results. The importance of that, though, is 150 meters down dip from ZK-06 and ZK-04, you have the actual Gryphon deposit discovered. You can see some of those initial discovery results: 4 meters at 15% U308, 4.5 meters at 21% U308. So does such a scenario exist like that at ACKIO? And that's what we're hoping to prove up in the months to come with additional drilling. The other thing I'll point out in these two cross sections is that they seem to be fertile corridors, where on the Gryphon side and the ACKIO side, when you're outside of the main alteration and structural envelope, you are still seeing mineralization in the host rocks, which does kind of suggest that this is a fertile corridor for uranium mineralization. So it's a great spot to be in. This is our initial discovery drill hole, AK-2101, between 16.2 meters of 642 counts per second between the two red lines. What I like to point out about this this drill hole is, I can take this, I can throw this into the Rough Rider deposit that I've worked on, and you would not be able to distinguish this drill hole from the rest of Rough Rider. Very similar. So we're already seeing similarities to well-known basement hosted Athabasca deposits. I'll also point out that in the colored blocks as well, the blue, green, and yellow, those are the areas of higher radioactivity. And especially within the blue, we did have 10 centimeters of greater than 10,000 counts per second. And you can see the visible uranium right there as black nodules. So this does continue to speak to the potential for high-grade uranium within the ACKIO system. So we're very happy to see this, especially in the first drill hole. That's not very common that happens. 3 meters beneath that, another elevated radioactivity intercept. This one is quite important to me because the style of mineralization is occurring within carbonate and quartz vein hosted brecciated system. Why is that important? Well, you go back to NextGen's Arrow discovery, the first drill hole into Arrow AR01. The uppermost intercept was mineralization that looked very similar to this. So same thing, I can take this, throw it into Arrow, and you'd never be able to tell the difference. So what these are all basically alluding to is that there is potential for very high grade uranium deposits, basement hosted deposits within the ACKIO system. And we're very excited about that. We've also got sandstone potential. There's a little skiff of sandstone above within 50 meters of surface. We know that there's faulting in the area with the right types of alteration, right types of structure. We're seeing offsetting. So if there is a structure that is intersecting and offsetting the sandstone, and if that has had carried uranium and precipitated along there, then we now have the potential for unconformity mineralization. Why is that important? Well, because unconformity deposits are typically more concentrated and of higher grade. So if we have something within 50 meters of surface, that's exciting. That is absolutely amazing. And that fits the Athabasca 2.0 model that we set out to achieve. Other thing I want to bring to your attention are these rocks beneath the two pictures beneath these hematite breccias. I've seen these on a number of deposits. It's the same type of basement hosted fluid system. So it's very exciting to see these at ACKIO as well. Just speaks to the much larger system. And going back to the Arrow example, there you are on the right-hand side. You can see the same type of hematite breccias and hematite altered myelinites and shears directly beneath the unconformity. And then beneath those is basically 300 to 350 million pounds of U3 weight. So are we seeing the same type of fluid drawdown mechanisms that have precipitated Arrow or precipitated Rough Rider, precipitated Gryphon? You know, these are 3 Athabasca basement hosted deposits that all share similarities with ACKIO. And we're only 4 holes into this. This is a large anomaly, and we can really grow this thing nicely. So as we progress forward, we do see that the structural envelopes or the structural characteristics are there. We have ramping faults. We've got subparallel faults and stacked faults that we think are showing repeating structures. So there are indications that this structural system is far more widespread. Given the amount of alteration that we've seen in the rocks as it is, that just speaks to a large plumbing system. And by plumbing, I mean fluids basically flowing through the pipes, and the pipes would be your structures and faults so that fluids can migrate through there. This is huge. This is one of the biggest alteration systems that I've ever seen in my career. So I think this has a unique opportunity for being able to hone in on structures, especially cross structures within the major structural envelope. And it's at those cross structure loci is where you typically get more discrete uranium rich pods that are able to form. And so that's what we will be focusing on in the months to come, really trying to build this up and prove that this is is the beast that we think it could be. Hits are at the Athabasca 2.0 model. Like I said, we're within 100 meters of surface. It's everything that we set out to achieve from day one. So very happy to see that. The other beautiful part is that we're so close to infrastructure. We're about 30 kilometers east of a highway and power line that is supplying McArthur River Mine and also the Key Lake Mill. So infrastructure is right there. We're 70 kilometers northeast from the Key Lake Mill. What better place to make a discovery than that as well? The other point I want to make out is from staking and flying airborne geophysics and drilling that discovery hole at ACKIO, we have spent $1.5 million on the project. And that has now turned into a 50 million market cap premium on the discovery. So we've done our investors, the company, we've done them all excellent justice with this new discovery. And I like to just point out that that is our strategy, and that's how we kind of operate as we go forward, that we are very cost effective, very efficient in our exploration strategies. And we like to move that, continue that approach as we go forward, continuing to explore Hook, because we have some wonderful targets that we just didn't get around to this summer. And also on Catharsis and Shadow, beautiful targets that we've identified on those projects as well. So it is a absolutely phenomenal start. We're very happy with everything that is occurring at ACKIO, and we see a lot of potential for not only just a basement hosted deposit being quite robust and potential for a high grade, large tonnage type of system, similar to Rough Rider, Gryphon, Arrow, but also having that unconformity potential. I also like to point out that at least 10% of our 1.5 million expenditures have gone directly into Indigenous owned businesses and employees for the project as well. So that's basically, that is the abridged version of the presentation. Again, you can find this online. We do have 65 million shares outstanding, about 40 million warrants and options outstanding, market caps floating around that 80 million mark. And we've got 11 million in the treasury. 9.5 million is committed to flow through expenditures in 2022. So you can expect a very active 2022 winter and summer drill exploration seasons from Baselode. And I do believe that is Baselode in a nutshell. That is the ACKIO discovery, and we're happy to keep pushing this thing forward. Thank you very much. Enjoy the Northern Lights.
All right, thanks for that presentation, Jamie. Definitely some exciting times ahead. So a couple questions here, and I know you touched on 92E's discovery, but maybe touch on what your relationship is with that management team, and are you guys working together to help each other out here? Are you guys keeping everything kind of private for now?
We have been speaking, and things are pretty private right now. I think it's a little bit more beneficial for each company to really see how this develops and see where the ACKIO-GMZ really turns out to what it turns out to be like.
Right. And as you said, you're awaiting assays, but you did report SINT results. For those that don't know anything about uranium exploration, what does that mean?
It's basically telling us that it's radioactivity. Now, radioactivity does come from 3 different elements: uranium, thorium, and potassium. However, we do have a scintillometer that's also called a spectrometer, which can identify what is the main source of radioactivity. So as we ran the spectrometer on the core, it was telling us that it was basically all uranium. So, and visually seeing the core just speaks to a uranium mineralized system. But that's basically as much as we can say. From experience, anytime I've seen over 10,000 counts per second with these scintillometers is typically over 1% U3O8, and that's as far as I can really make a correlation. It's pretty difficult to do so. Right.
My understanding is that it's not really a one-to-one correlation.
It's an initial indicator, and that's it. We disclose that in our news releases and presentations.
That being said, 92E does have assay results, and they have SINT results, and it's on trend with you guys. Yes. So,
and we both use the same scintillometer. We both use an RS-125.
Okay.
It's like driving a Honda Civic and somebody else driving a Honda Civic. It's the same car.
Right. And speaking of assays, I know lab turnaround time might be tough these days, but when do you expect to see them?
I'm hoping within 2 weeks from this presentation.
Right. And, in the interest of time here, you brought up Athabasca 2.0. Just remind us again what that means, and maybe touch on the 2 main deposit types and what sandstone cover means for you guys.
Athabasca 2.0 means economics. We went back to the originators of Athabasca mining, which all occur outside of the basin, these basement hosted deposits, or open pit with very, very shallow sandstone cover. As soon as you start getting away from that, you get into deeper deposits, which is the unconformity style of mineralization, which a lot of people search for. Those are the things that really don't go into production. And we're trying to avoid that. Unless you have McArthur Rivers, Cigar Lake, they don't go into production. So we've identified that and think that anything outside of the basin has the best chance of going into a mineable scenario. So what does a sandstone mean for us? Sandstone just means simply that, hey, we've got unconformity potential, but we don't have a lot of sandstone cover. It's the potential for an unconformity mineralization is there. Would it have all been eroded away? Impossible to tell. Seeing that we do have basement mineralization also speaks very highly though.
Right, and with that, thanks for joining us. We're out of time here. Next up is Encore Energy. And congrats again, Jamie, on the discovery.
Thanks everybody. Thanks, Kobe.